Batman, G.I. Joe Snake Eyes movie. Whew. Extremely difficult to find. Transformer Rumble. What do these all have in common? They were all clearance items that were offered to us straight from the manufacturer and distributor. And yeah, even us toy stores, we get offered these items from distributor and manufacturer. And I must say, it's the way we get them, it's a bit more convoluted and a bit more exciting to to try and get them. So in this video, I'm just going to explain how even us toy stores, we get the thrill of getting...
Did I say exclusive? I hope I didn't say exclusive.
...clearance items. So let's dive in. Hey, it's Amir from Toy Snowman, better known as the Chicken Man. And today I just want to explain like 4 ways which our store in general gets clearance items, because we can't get it like, you know, the standard way. I can't really jump into a Walmart clearance aisle and be like, oh, I'll have 200 Robux, please. Because, well, I mean, obviously it's a bit, the logistics is a bit too hard. So I'm just like, you know, post this video mainly because somebody like in the comment section like wrote like, hey, how do you get your clearance items in my last video? And you know, me as a dictator, I want you to know that, you know, I read the comments. And so if you comment on this video, I'll read it and I will find the rebel scum and crush them. So now that we're done threatening the general audience, any regrets yet, Optimus?
Autobots, I have sworn to never kill humans. Big mistake.
Let's get into way number 1 of how we get our clearance items. So this is probably the longest process one, but it's also my favorite way because it's the one that gets you the, you know, biggest hits or biggest misses. It's has a high variance way of getting clearance items. It's the silent auction. So in the silent auction, we are given this giant price list, and the company says, hey, put your bid in. So put how much price, the maximum price you're willing to pay for this item, and how many quantities you want. And we all do so not knowing what our competition or other stores are bidding for, and for which items and how much they're willing to pay for, or how many units they are. And essentially, you know, the highest bid and gets the item, and then if there's still items left over, the next highest bid gets the remaining items. And as you go lower until all the items are sold out, that's how you go. So if, you know, there's 100 pieces and you order 50, and then the next person orders 50, and then the next person orders 50, then the third person doesn't win out. But, you know, the second person in the middle who ordered 50 of the 100 is getting the best deal because he's buying his 50 cheaper than the person above him, but he's getting his units, and the person below him is not getting it. So it's a bit fun because, you know, you're all throwing numbers out and trying to get like the best deal by, you know, paying the lowest price, but at the same time, you know, you don't want to pay the highest price to get, because, you know, you really want the item, or you want the item, but you don't want to overpay because you just know that everybody above you is overpaying, everybody below you is getting it cheaper than you, and it feels bad, right? So here, quite often, sometimes you get like some crazy numbers because you're the only person bidding on an item, and it's like,
I could have just ordered it for like $1 and said I paid $5 each, and
you want to, like, you know, strangle somebody because you're like, but I mean, it's part of the game, I guess. It's also like sometimes you get an item that, you know, you can't believe you got at certain prices because it's, you know, you would have paid full price for some of these items. So a lot of these items also, the big companies, they work by the quarter, and so they're like, it's the end of this quarter, all the items that we have from last quarter, or, you know, 3 quarters or whatever their timeline is, has to be removed from the warehouse. So sometimes you get like really cool items that were like exclusive, and like example, the pterosaur from Transformers and Rumble, they were items that we all wanted as collectors, and there was like a shortage of them, and they belonged to like, I don't know, Toys R Us or something, and for some reason Toys R Us was not ordering their items, so these items were saved in the warehouse for them. You know, they just wanted to, and then the distributor wanted to get rid of it, and they're like, okay, put it on sale in the clearance, because, you know, the ones, it was allocated for Toys R Us, but because Toys R Us didn't buy it, it just stayed there, and nobody was getting it in Canada. And then all of a sudden, we have a chance to buy it at cheaper prices, so we're like, hell yeah! And we end up bidding it for it. And this bid could get worse, because sometimes it can go higher than the price that we want to, like, we'd normally get it for. And then now we're like a bit angry, because it's like, now we're paying more than actual market price for this item. Like, this doesn't make sense. This is supposed to be clearance, but, you know, it happens. But yeah, it's, this is just one of the ways. It is a bit more complicated because it's all manual, because, you know, we all put in our bids, and then some guy has to like go on down the list of highest to lowest and then see how much quantity is going down by.
it's like, okay, and then
for us as bidders, you know, we see how many units there are available. We're like,
20,000 units. Oh man, I can bid $1
and I'll get it. And then it's like you bid $2 just to be safe, and then it's like it all clears out at like $2.50, and you're like, what? How? And like some random like, I don't know, pram store in West Virginia like bought 2,000 core class, or what was it? Got like pterosaurs for like 50 cents or something.
Not pterosaur.
Terracon or something, and then they sell it for like in Dollarama for like $2. I'm just like, these people. But whatever, it's can't win them all. I guess we'll go to reason number 2, or I guess we'll go to way number 2. Ugh. Okay. It's Labor Day, so you know I'm laboring. We have a lot of orders. They're shipping out, but they're kind of like behind because Monday's a holiday. So even though I usually try to work, Canada Post is off, so we'll figure that one out. So way number 2. This one is like it's a tier list. It's Diamond. They Diamond Comics, they like to do this tier list on their website where okay, so this game's like it's a weird kind of clearance because it's like a game of chicken with the distributor where they give you a list. They have like 6 tiers, I think, and it's like green to red, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and they put an item that they've had for a while. Essentially, I mean, that they want to put on clearance, right? But rather than just offering it for cheap, they put a discount on it at like tier 1, where it's like 10% off your regular price, and we're like,
okay, you know, instead of paying
$27.20, we're paying, I don't know, $25. Like, great, you know, $2. And you know, sometimes, you know, if you want the item, you know, sure, get it. You know, it's just slightly cheaper, whatever. Every dollar matters. But the interesting part is, after 2 weeks of that item being on that tier, if it doesn't sell out, it goes to the next level, and then it becomes, you know, $20, and it's like, oh,
$7 off.
Now, you know, I'm thinking about it, right? Maybe I didn't want it before because the margins were too low, but now the margins are getting better. And this is one like I call like Matt sometimes to be like, hey, this week on Diamond, did you see it? Guess what's tier 3 or tier 5? And you know, like I'll call him and say, hey, you know, and you know, it's a bit exciting because, you know, you're like, now the downside is that
literally every time I'm recording a video, the Chicken Man calls. Chicken Man, what do you want?
I want to talk about some stuff with Vinny.
Vinny's helping me by holding the boom mic. Now, stop eating that. I'm gonna go finish recording and then I'll call you on the secret line. Meet me in the back cave.
You want to keep on waiting for it to go down the list. Like when it's at tier 5 and tier 6, it's like 80%, 90% off. So it's like, it's really good to just, you know, buy whatever items. And like, that's why you see sometimes me with like, we're selling like magnets now. Why? Because it was 90% off. I need to buy it and see what happens. Yeah, so that's why I have Mini-Mates, Transformers, Power Rangers, magnets on our website. It's because it was on this diamond tier list. And it reached level 6 and I just started buying them. Because I'm like, you know, whatever, let's see what happens. And that's why I sell it for like 50% off. Because I'm like,
whatever, I still make money off it. I'm happy to share it with everybody.
It's one of the more funner ones because you want it to go all the way down, but at the same time, every other retailer in America is looking at that same list as you, and they're seeing it go down, and they know if they wait, if we all decide to call each other and wait somehow, we'll get a good deal. But the problem is, like, some people are like,
you know, 50% off,
I'm buying it. Some people are like, 25% off, I'll buy it. And, you know, some of us are like, 70% off, we'll buy it. And so, thing is, if it sells out, then it's sold out, and then we don't get to buy it. So then, how much greedy you're willing to wait for it is when you make your purchase. So it's definitely, I know, like some other stores, like I talk with them every Thursday, and we like open the list together and we start looking, and it's just like, you know, is it there? Oh, Neca Gargoyles is on the list. Oh, that means, okay, we'll check back in a month when it goes down, hopefully 2 levels, and we'll call and see if it's like, it's still on the list. Oh, it's tier 3. Let's go. And we start buying it. Or because like, you don't want the FOMO to get to you, but sometimes, so you should probably like look at the list and then say,
no, I'll only buy it at, you know, 60% off, and then,
you know, every 2 weeks you're gonna check that website and see if it's going down the list. Yeah, it's a more interactive one. You kind of hope, because like this is also the one that Super 7 goes on a lot of, and like Super 7, like for us as a store, it's not feasible because the margins are really low. Like, if you get straight from the manufacturer at Super 7, you're going to get like 25% margin. And that's like before shipping. So then, you know, these Super 7 boxes are big. So it's like, by the time it's landed, it's like 15% margin. And you're like,
Great.
if I sell it for $100 after shipping and labor, I'm making like $2 or $5 profit. It's not really worth our time. But sometimes it ends up on the diamond tier 5, tier 6. You know, Toy Store Man is gonna be there, just scooping it up. All right. I guess let's see what else do we have. Oh, why I go to shows, of course. All right, good old Mcfarlane corner. I don't know. I'm still trying to find my like corner in the shop where I want to do my videos, but is the camera right? I don't know. So I'm trying to find my corner to start, you know, filming videos more often. I think the Mcfarlane corner is not too bad. It's just now we are the same height, me and you, eye to eye. Rebel scum. All right. I don't know. The Mcfarlane corner makes me also aggressive. I think I'm noticing something, or make me rant. I don't know. Next one is shows. When you go to Toy Fair and New York Comic Con and some other places, there sometimes are representatives of manufacturers and distributors. And in these ones, I have a feeling they do this because they don't want it to be widespread news that they are doing clearance of certain items. And so they, you know, if you write something on the internet, it's there forever. So I feel like these distributors, they try to like make it hush hush. And so I'm going to try to avert saying their things, but if I do, my editor, you know, just wipe it out because I think they don't want anybody to know. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. So, when you go there and you meet your rep in person or talk to them, and depending on your account level, I guess, because they didn't do this to me for the first 2 years that I've been going to New York Toy Fair, and I've been there like 4 times now. And the distributor gives you a list, but it's a paper list, and it's a huge, long list. Like, it's impractical, but it has a list of items which they are putting up on sale, and they offer to you there at clearance, but only at the show. So they are show-only prices. And yeah, it's a very simple thing. Like, you know, here's some items. If you are interested in them, I noticed that, you know, when you're talking business and shop, they'd be like, oh, I noticed you buy a lot of this item. But guess what? On this series, we have these items on sale currently at the show. And it's really on the spot because, you know, as a store, you gotta remember, like, okay, do I want this? Is this something I need? Can I do my research? They kind of like say, yeah, it's only during the show, so you have your, you know, 48 hours essentially to make a decision of, do I want to buy this item? Like, sometimes it's a new item. Do they know something that I don't know? Are sales down or up? So like last year I did this and I got like, can I say it? I can't say it now. I got this giant monster and I got a lot of them at a good discount, and I was a bit surprised because it was a brand new item. It was a reissue also. So like it was a reissue, but so I guess the reissue was not popular, and so it was just so much of it available. I mean, that's the thing. Like, it also hides a lot of information because, you know, we can't really like prove it or, you know, show that we get this. And so this way of clearancing is a bit more selective, I guess, because they don't, you know, it's all on paper, and the only time you can get it is when you pay for it, and then all of a sudden, and this only happens during shows. So that's why sometimes it's like useful for us stores to go to shows, because like, I don't know, over the years I've gotten older over time, right? You get older, that's normal in here, thanks. But I don't like to go to that many shows. But, you know, sometimes it's like I feel like I miss out because then I don't get offered these lists. And some of these like distributors / retailer, distributor, you know who it is. If you own a toy store, you know who this distributor / retailer is. They offer you these lists only during the shows, and you know, you hate them, but you hate this retailer, but you know, sometimes if they offer you cake, you want the cake. Damn them. Okay. Maybe I won't talk too much about this list this way, because this way does block out a lot of information. Because, you know, I guess like why sometimes the manufacturer doesn't want people to know about these in-person lists, because, you know, if something new is coming out, they kind of don't want to admit that it's failing, because saying something sucks is also a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? It's, you know, if you say this movie sucks, and the toy sucks, even before you even see the toy, you're just not going to buy it, and which is going to make it sell terrible, you know, because you know you said, oh, this toy is gonna sell terrible because the show is gonna be terrible, and then you know you don't buy the toy because you assume the show is terrible, and it goes on, right? So sometimes there's something that's like, oh, it's not bad, right? But then because it had bad reviews, people are canceling. By the way, people are canceling the Action Force vehicle thing. That's a really crappy thing to do, and it leaves stores on the hook, right? Because like our policy is 5% cancellation, and you know we pay 6% in cancellation fee, and it, you know, sucks because like usually if it's a small item, like whatever, it's 1% loss on us. But this is a bigger item, so we're probably losing a lot more because that's only processing fee that we're losing. And so I don't know if like which YouTuber like bashed the Action Force Humvee, but that kind of sucks because now we had a few cancellations of it. I don't know why I got on this track. I'm just remembered because I got 3 cancellations this week for it. I'm just like, you know, it's whatever, 900 Canadian I think now, like all 3 of them 300 each or something. I don't know my own prices. If you ask me what my prices in my store, I have no idea. I use a scanner for every item, okay? So just not excuse me for being so dumb. No, sorry, I don't know. I got off this trail because it's yeah, it's not the best feeling getting these large cancellations, and our policy was not meant to be used in such a way. I know I should have. I don't know. I saw some stores they were taking non-refundable deposits, but I figured like, you know, every Action Force item has done so well over the past time that probably wasn't necessary. Not like, you know, Mezco, where Mezco can be. I mean, that's why we do it for you, Mezco, because Mezco is like, they're notoriously late. Like it could be like 2 years, 3 years until they deliver. So like, yeah, sure, I don't want to take your money because you're gonna wait 2 or 3 years. Who knows? You might not even be, you know, like, you might not like Batman anymore. You're just like, you know what? I hate Batman. He's too dark, and I prefer Spider-Man because he's Spidey-Man, you know. And I don't know where I'm going with this train of thought. It's ramble on. All right, so because I rambled on, I'm gonna throw in a 4th bonus way which we get clearance items, just because you had to listen to me rant. So this is your thank you for listening, letting me get stuff off my chest. I guess the 4th way is an all or nothing list that we get sometimes from distributors, where so usually a big distributor will have like a list of items. Like I'm not sure like if they were holding it aside for another retailer, and that retailer like, you know, dined and dash and like skipped the bill, like, oh, you know what, we don't want these items anymore, you deal with it kind of situation. Or if it's like, oh, the distributor just found a bunch of older items, because usually these all-in lists are old items, right? So it's like, I'm not sure what the full story is behind it, but you know, essentially the list is, here's a big list of multiple items, sometimes, you know, 1,000 items, and you're like, okay, you know, like 20 SKUs and like 50, and you're like, oh, okay, let me see. And they say, yeah, give an offer. And, you know, if they accept the offer, that you just take the whole list and you take all those random items. It's pretty self-explanatory, I guess, but, you know, it's just one of the ways which we offer. Sometimes you look at it. Now, the best way I look at these lists is I try to see the item that I really want in that list. And if I sell it at full price, am I going to cover the cost of all the crappy items, essentially, on that list? And if it's like 50-50, or like if I might be able to cover, let's say 2/3 of that list with the top items, then I'm like, you know what, sure, I'll buy this. And that's why sometimes on my website you'll see these, all of a sudden there's like 50 different items, and it's like, oh, these are really old or strange, why are they okay? And people buy it and they're happy. It's because, you know, I bought a giant list of stuff and just trying to get rid of it all, which is why, like, I mean, some of the items are surprising because, you know, you'd think they were good. So like some of them are like, I don't know, George Lucas Stormtrooper, and you're like, oh, this is not a bad item, like, shouldn't be on this clearance list. But then you see it with like some other items and you're like,
okay, I can see where,
you know, it's like evergreen item versus what the hell is that? And you know, Batman, like 20 types of Batman all in one go, and then you're like,
oh, okay, I don't need half of these Batman, but these 2 are really good. Will it cover the cost?
Maybe, maybe not. You sell and you buy. Who knows? You pass it, you don't pass it, doesn't matter. Distributors, I'm sure somebody will always end up. That's dark. You see, I never film in this dark corner. I guess may as well discuss the last way, the bonus way, is... By the way, so if you're all wondering like how I filmed this, it's all in one shot. So my editor has to like sometimes work into this magic. But ooh, let's talk about clearance. So I guess the unofficial, let's call it 4B, where it's all or nothing, is I mean, it's also the sadder way, is sometimes stores close. They get a shit end of the deal. If your store is closing, other stores like were willing to buy their items because, you know, they're closing up shop and they're like, okay, I want to get rid of all my items. Can you just buy it all? And we're more professional at buying, you know, all the items that when your store is closing than, you know, if you just give it to a random liquidator, because the liquidator is going to look at it and says, what's your inventory?
What do you value at? 100,000? Okay, I'll give you 5,000. Be done with it.
At least for us, you know, maybe they might even give you like 2 cents on the dollar. They'll be like, oh, okay, 2,000 for every 100,000, and it's like, you know, when you're closing your store, you're just being like trampled over. So, I mean, that's the other way. It doesn't happen too often. It happened a lot in 2022. In 2022, we bought 3 stores of inventory. It was like a lot of clearance items. But I guess in 2022 and 2023, there was a lot of that happening. So, I guess it was normal. But I guess that's the official other clearance way, where the demise of somebody else is your clearance items. I don't know what much more to explain. It's liquidators are, you know, your banker in a business tie. And when you're going bankrupt, he'll come to your store and he'll look around. He'll give a random estimate, and he'll tell the liquidators, okay, here's what we value the inventory at, and it's nowhere near the official price. But for them, it's about speed. So the fastest way is just, you know, be really low. And so I mean, if your store going bankrupt, I'd rather, you know, you communicate to another bigger store that, you know, at least they'll give you like, you know, 20 cents on the dollar better than, you know, 2 cents to 5 cents on the dollar, right? Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, I'll always do it because, like, in my head, I know I'm also helping them out at the same time. And for me, you know, we have a large inventory and we can afford to buy out those inventories. But I don't know. We also have like an older inventory, so it's fine because we like to have a history of items. I mean, not all items. Like, I mean, you, Leia, like.
Yeah, you outlasted the actor.
Hope.
Oh, you canceled again. Well, rest in peace. Circle back to my original spot. So I decided, let me just give out some crazy items that we were able to get on clearance that I'm sure some of you have all enjoyed and bought. So one of them, this was back in 2021. It was, now when you think about it, you're like, no way, that's crazy. It was the Marvel Legends Retro Spider-Man. So Retro Spider-Man, I don't know, picture here. Yes, that one was, believe it or not, hit clearance at one of the distributors. The main reason why is this distributor is like, I don't know, they're pretty crap. So crap that they did not change the code name for Marvel Legends Retro Spider-Man, and it was still under the code name Vintage Sausage. So yeah, so so for those who don't know, there are code names when we purchase these items, because that's why it's so hard to pre-order items, because we don't know what they are. They're giving us in code names. And Retro Spider-Man was vintage, was codename Sausage. So Vintage Sausage was the item name, and you know, if you did not know the code name or the item, you were not buying it. And so that's why this distributor just had this item available, and it was like, okay, I'm just gonna buy it, because I knew it was like Spider-Man. It's an evergreen item, so I just bought a bunch. Back then, yeah, in 2021, I was buying for clearance Retro Spider-Man, which even back then it was still a wanted item, but you know, it was also COVID era, so the world was upside down at the time. So yeah, everybody had bigger things to worry about, and yeah, I did not, obviously, so I was just buying my Vintage Sausage. That was one of my favorite finds. Another one, so sometimes it's aligned with the exclusives. So there was an exclusive that was timed exclusive to Toys R Us, and that was Pterosaur somewhere. So yeah, Toys R Us like had the exclusive rights for it, and nobody could buy it. But then Toys R Us did not buy it for the longest period of time, and I guess the exclusive time wore out, and the distributor just put it in clearance because they're like,
well, they're not gonna buy this, and it's way too old.
And they just put it in clearance, and I was able to get like 200 Pterosaurs, and that's why I was like, hey everybody, I have Pterosaur. I don't know how I was able to get it, but I was able to get it, and I just bid slightly above the regular price of it just to make sure I get it, because I didn't think anybody else was going to compete with me on it. And yeah, so that's why we got that Transformer Pterosaur, which everybody wanted. The other item was Transformer Rumble, which is this is a pretty recent one, where Rumble, I'm not sure the reasoning why it went to clearance, but it went to clearance before regular distribution got it, which I'm not sure if this was like a mess up on some Excel sheet, but like Rumble is still pretty hard to find. And at the time when I got it, it was super early. I got it from clearance before I got it from regular distribution. So that was like a weird one where when I bought it, it was still under a code name, and I thought like,
there might be a mistake here.
I'm just going to only order 200. And when 200 came, it was all Rumble. I'm like, oh great, I can fulfill my pre-orders with this. And it was just like, okay, I fulfilled my pre-orders. And it was, I mean, it wasn't the biggest score because Rumble MSRP is like $16. So, you know, instead of paying $12, I paid like $10. Like, trust me, I wasn't driving a Bugatti the next week, but I was like, you know, it was just a nice surprise to be able to buy an item that you were waiting for from regular distribution, and then you get it on a clearance list. So those were definitely one of my favorite ones. My least favorite ones, obviously, this entire Star Wars section over here. Unfortunately, Star Wars finds its way to the clearance aisle in a galaxy very near me. I am a sucker for
for being hurt.
I bought a bunch. So I remember buying a lot of Boba Fett items because I'm like, you know what? It's Boba Fett. He cannot go wrong. Apparently he can go wrong because years later they were still offering him for clearance twice. I bought it one time. On the first time it went on clearance. Then the second time it went on clearance, I was like, no, I still have 50, 60. And then I saw him for a third time on clearance, and it was already below my price by half as much. And I was like,
this one really stings because like
I'm selling it at 50% off, and I was like making like $5-10 profit, and now I'm seeing it for half of what I was selling it for, and just like, okay, well now I'm just do I buy more to lower my cost, you know, so this way I can sell it for cheaper? So I bought more dead inventory, and Boba Fett, here you are. Maybe one day you will rise in price, and I will recover my sanity. But till then, everybody, stay frosty. Buy my vintage sausage.